Hey, it's me, Nalthazar, and welcome to another Magic the Gathering Puzzle Quest video. Today's video is going to be about this beauty right here, Miss Kentucky, the Bone Miser. Bone Miser is a new masterpiece that came out in M21. I've gotten a lot of players sending me messages about how much they love this card, so I thought, well, why don't I make a video on it? So let's get rolling. If you're unfamiliar with what Bone Miser does, Bone Miser is a creature. It's a zombie wizard, and it has when you cycle or discard another card, one of the following things happen. If that card is a creature, you create 2 zombies. If that card is a land, you convert 2 gems to black. And if that card is a non-creature, non-land card, you draw a card. Now, the really special thing about Bone Miser is that bottom one, right? So the first thing I tried, I saw the convert 2 gems to black, so I naturally tried to make a black gem conversion deck. But that really didn't work out how I wanted it to. The deck still won the matches that I played with it, but it just felt really clunky. And then the bottom bit really stood out to me, that if that card is a non-creature, non-land card, draw a card. Which means that if you discard your hand, as an example, you're just going to immediately redraw that hand. And so if you pair Bone Miser with something like Song of Creation is going to make you discard all but the first card from your hand every turn. And Bone Miser is going to make you effectively redraw all those cards back, assuming your deck is composed of predominantly the non-creature, non-land cards. Now, if you're going to be doing that a bunch, you're obviously going to want some way to make that cycle through your hand even more. And that's where Serum Powder comes in. So Serum Powder has overflow. So when this card enters your hand, if you've got 5 or more cards in your hand, it is exiled, and you discard all the cards without mana from your hand and draw that many cards, giving those cards half of their mana, which means that you can get some pretty crazy loops going because you're just discarding, redrawing, discarding, redrawing, discarding, redrawing, which is pretty sweet. Now, you might be thinking, hold on a minute, Nalthazar, what's the point in discarding and redrawing? Like, what are you getting out of that? Well, this deck is taking advantage of Glinthorn Buccaneer, which says, when you discard a card, this creature deals 3 damage to your opponent's planeswalker. Now this Buccaneer, or let's go ahead and call this the Minotaur Buckaroo, is going to be doing a whole ton of damage in this deck. You will be surprised how quickly those 3 damage pings stack up when you are recycling through your hand multiple times a turn. The rest of the deck is going to be composed of a bunch of stuff that's going to discard and draw. So I've got Teferi, Master of Time, for the +1 ability to discard and draw. I've got the Royal Scions for their 0 ability of discard and draw. I've got Emergency Powers as a way of discarding my hand and, well, drawing a new one. I've got both Thrill of Possibility and Magmatic Insight because they are, well, yep, discard and draw. And finally, because Bone Miser is going to be creating zombies, and Bone Miser is going to be benefiting from things discarding, and Bone Miser is going to make it so that when you discard, we just redraw all of our cards anyways. Awaken the Erstwhile actually becomes you create all these zombie tokens, but then you get to redraw your hand and make this whole thing even worse. So I hadn't found a way to really use this card that I liked before, but this deck I really like Awaken the Erstwhile in. So remember, the idea behind the deck is get yourself discarding with a Bone Miser out, and then all those discards just turn to cards drawn, because as for this particular deck, there are only 2 creatures. We got Glinthorn Buckaroo and the Bone Miser. Everything else is a non-creature, non-land card. So those other 8 cards, when they get discarded, are just going to go ahead and give us another card drawn. So let's go ahead, cut to the gameplay. I found it was really fun. All right, so for this match, I'm using Nicol Bolas. I'm using Bolas because Bolas can use 6 supports, or at least, this version of Bolas. My starting hand, I do not have Song of Creation. I do not have my beautiful Bone Miser. So I'm going to go ahead and move Teferi up so that I can try and get some card draw going. So card draw is going to make it so that ideally I get into Song of Creation or Bone Miser more quickly. And so let's go ahead and drop the Teferi. Now I've got a 5 match of green, which is pretty sweet. That definitely guarantees that we're going to get Teferi down. And then I can go ahead and use Teferi's first ability, and we get a Bone Miser, which is perfect. So I do want to play the Buckaroo, but getting the Bone Miser out is going to do quite a lot more for me. Nonetheless, the Teferi is going to start pinging my opponent when I discard every turn. And the one thing that I actually do that's kind of a mistake, it's not this turn, is Teferi discards the last card without mana in your hand. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to get Bone Miser down here. I'm going to discard a card and draw. I draw into Song of Creation, which is perfect, except that I discard Song of Creation. But nonetheless, I redraw it, which is really exciting. I move the Song of Creation up in my hand, and I use Teferi's first ability, which discards Song of Creation. What am I doing with my life? I don't know, guys. I don't know. But here's where you get to see the Serum Powder nonsense start. So we're pinging, we're drawing another Serum Powder. We're going to use it. We're pinging, we're redrawing. And I should have a relatively empty hand, but no, I have 6 cards in my hand because that's the way the cookie crumbles here. I am going to move Awaken the Erstwhile up to the top of my hand here because discarding my whole hand is definitely the way that I want to go about this. I've already used that first ability, so I can't use it again, sadly. And at this point, I'm just going to go ahead, take my match. I know that I'm going to be able to play Awaken the Erstwhile here. So I'm going to get a whole bunch of zombie tokens. I'm going to give some zombie tokens to my opponent, but I really don't care. I'm going to be discarding things, which means that I'm going to be pinging my opponent a ton of times. I'm going to be redrawing because I'm discarding and drawing. I'm getting rid of creatures, so I'm getting more zombies. I get a Serum Powder at the wrong time, but it's not a really big deal. If you see, Dovin is already at 66 health because we are pinging the living bones out of that dude. Yes, we are. And we got an extra match so we can try and play Song of Creation. Unfortunately, though, I think we're going to have to probably wait another turn to play Song of Creation because we got a blue match, but we just don't have a double match. Oh, but wait, we did. Yep, that definitely happened, guys. So we're going to go ahead. This is all one turn. We're just pinging away Dovin. It's the end of our turn. Song of Creation's going to make us discard, but wait, we drew into a Serum Powder, and you'll see that the game hadn't even registered that it was in my hand. The game is like, what is happening here? You should not have these cards in your hand, but watch. Boom, they reappear. So we do actually have cards in our hand. We get another Serum Powder, and look at this, empty cards in my hand. The game has no idea how I'm pinging Dovin so many times, but look at this, Dovin. Oh, poor Dovin. Dovin's already at 30 health. Dovin is below 30 health. We've got another Serum Powder. And all of this damage is just being done by discarding and redrawing cards. So this loop that's happening of sorts is just because Bone Miser is making me redraw cards. And an even crazier thing is that my opponent attacks. Oh, man. Is this your opponent's turn? I don't know. But yeah, my opponent stands absolutely no chance here. This is it for them, right? Because I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to make the match. I'm going to discard my hand, which is definitely going to ping Dovin. We're going to be pinging Dovin for way too much damage. The Serum Powder is going to go ahead, give us even bigger zombies. Look at this. We've already got 48 power in zombies, and we're just pinging. And that's the match. So really fun deck. If you've got the cards, give it a shot. Thank you so much for watching. Bongo the Gray, thank you for suggesting I use this card. I had a blast. I'll see you guys in the next one.